Not letting us go live yet, but there we are. Hi. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather from Children's Book World, and we are here with Jen Calonita for another exciting Books and Baking. And this time we are celebrating her newest in the Twisted Tale series, Go the Distance. So we are super excited. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this.
We are super excited. I want to ask you some questions because we did something we haven't done before. We actually asked people to pre-submit questions. So we have some questions for Jen, but of course, we want to hear what you guys have to say. So in the comments, please write your questions or just say hi, tell us your favorite Twisted Tale, whatever you want. We're happy to chat and we will ask those questions too. But to start off, do you just want to let people know a little bit about what the Twisted Tales are?
So Disney has this amazing series. It is called a Twisted Tale series. There is 3 authors so far who've tackled different classic Disney movies. Liz Braswell originated it. Elizabeth Lim has done Mulan and Cinderella. And I've been fortunate enough to do Snow White, Frozen, and now Hercules. And it basically, each book poses a what-if question that could change the whole Disney movie add to the story in some way, change something about the story that takes you on an entirely new journey with the characters, and hopefully it teaches you a little bit about the characters that you didn't know before. And so Hercules is really all about Meg, and the question is, what if Meg had to become a Greek god in order to be with Hercules? And that's the question I ask at the beginning of the story, and then hopefully take you on this epic quest.
I have to say, Courtney is very excited about reading this. She just posted how excited she is. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to ask you some questions. And I will also say, for those of you watching live, if you ask a question, you will have your name entered into the fishbowl to win this fabulous prize.
So look, these are exclusive Disney A Twisted Tale pins. They were made, they feature the first 9 books in the series. You can't get them anywhere. They're just a giveaway. And then I also have this awesome poison apple necklace. I'm not going to open the package on everybody, but it's really cool. It's got the poison apple, and then you can actually slide over the front of the necklace, and there's a mirror with the magic mirror inside. So it's very, very cool. So hopefully one question will be picked, and that'll be our prize person.
All right. So before we start baking, here's a couple of questions. This is from Jacob, and he would like to know, how much and what research did you do on Greek culture and mythology to prepare you to start writing Go the Distance?
So it's funny, with the other 2 Twisted Tales, like I know Snow White backward and forward. I am such a huge Frozen fan. I feel like I really know that story so well. Hercules is one of my kids' favorite Disney movies, my older son's favorite Disney movies. And I knew it, but I wasn't as well versed in all the Greek mythology that I wanted to dive into this story. So I actually picked up a few Greek mythology books. I had like almost like a dummy's guide to Greek mythology that I read cover to cover and marked up with, all these Greek myths, all these gods, all these characters. And there's just so much amazing stuff that I decided to pick and choose some things. I worked with my editor, and there's these famous 12 labors of Hercules that I actually stole a few of them and I gave them to Meg and kind of combined them just to add like a lot of different characters and creatures and different myths inside this one book. And it was so much fun to put together.
Cool. All right, moving on. Who was your favorite god to write about? And how many times did you watch Hercules to study for writing this book?
Well, I think I have to say our cover subject right here, Hades. Hades is, the god of the underworld. He is voiced by James Woods in the movie. And he's just the way he portrays Hades is amazing. He's just very funny. He's very dark and comical. And so I was just trying to get that voice just right. And we give him a whole new layer. He has his own story in this, which I love. That kind of gives you some inside looks at him and what else is going on in his world. He's very angry at the beginning of this book. I mean, if you've seen the Hercules movie, you know at the end he has claimed Meg's soul, and then Hercules is able to get her back, and now she's living in the land of the living, and he's lost his kind of right-hand person, and he doesn't want to give up any souls. I mean, he's the god of the underworld. He doesn't want to give anybody up. So that is a problem Meg is going to run into in this book.
Cool. Did you listen to the soundtrack while you were writing this? It's one of my all-time favorite Disney soundtracks.
It is so amazing. I mean,
good, right?
The problem is I couldn't listen to it while I was writing because then you just wanted to sing over and over and over again. So it was like distracting. I'd be singing Meg's song or Go the Distance.
We've got a couple people excited.
It's so good.
There's a whole series of Twisted Tales.
Dylan is also getting some comments for us with his little, he said people are very excited about this series.
Yes, it's such a good series. So just moving on to a different series for a second, because we do have a question about another series of yours. And Gilly wants to know, are there going to be other Enchantasia stories that take place in other schools around the kingdom? And will there be a lot of crossover characters and heroes?
I love that it's a Gilly who asked the question, because Gilly is the main character, right, in Fairy Tale Reform School. So hi to Gilly. Right now, Cursed was the last Fairy Tale Reform School book. And then this October, there is a new Royal Academy's Rebel book that kind of merges Fairy Tale Reform School and Royal Academy. I like to say it's like an epic mashup. It's the first time in any of the books there's been two characters on the cover. It's Devon, of course, who is the reluctant princess from Royal Academy. But then the other person on the cover is not Gilly. It's Anna, her younger sister, and she is teaming up with Devon to take down a bigger villain. So that's been a lot of fun to work on. There's also an exclusive Fairy Tale Reform School short story that will appear in the back of that book, which was really fun to write as well. And so, I mean, I love any chance to write about all those characters. We don't have plans for another school right now, but, you know, never say never. I love writing about that world. I really do.
Awesome. Well, we love when you do. So back to Go the Distance. I love this question. Will any of the characters die in the book? I prepared to cry anyway. I like anyone who is prepared.
I do too. I love when people are prepared to cry. I mean, look, I do think, like, my mom was reading last night and she was like, I really was getting teary-eyed because there are some really emotional moments in this book. I can't reveal what happens to anyone, but like Meg is going to be traveling to the underworld. Hades doesn't like to give up souls. She's going to encounter some souls that are down there that we haven't met before, as well as perhaps another god. So, there are some emotional moments. Meg really is going on a journey of self-discovery in this. You know, she's jaded. She's fantastic. She's such an amazing character, but we didn't know a lot about her backstory, and this really dives into it. And she's brokenhearted. She is with Wonder Boy Hercules now, but she's brokenhearted. She gave up her soul for her ex-boyfriend, and he moved on to someone else, and that's how she wound up in the underworld. So she's got a lot of baggage to work through.
Couple more questions, and then we'll do some baking. But I love this one too. What can we expect from this book compared to all the other books you've written?
I feel like this one is a true hero's journey, which was so much fun. You know, Hades is on the cover, of course, but this is Meg's story. This is really getting to know Meg. And as I said, it's a journey of self-discovery. It's really a chance for her to grow and change in new ways. And so that to me felt really amazing, just to watch this one character go through a journey alone. You know, my Fairy Tale Reform School books and my Royal Academy books, those are always like a team effort, a group effort. It's a group of kids working together. This is really Meg. She has to do the heavy lifting. She does have some help along the way. You know, Phil, who is voiced by Danny DeVito in the movie, he is going to come along with her on this journey too, as far as he can. But this is going to be on Meg. If she's going to make this work, she's going to have to do it herself.
Okay, one more question, and then we'll do a little baking. Who is your favorite Greek god and why?
And, you know, I think it has to be Athena. I think, you know, she is in this book. She is somebody we encounter. She's such an epic god. I mean, she does deal with warcraft. She has wisdom, crafts. She's credited in some versions for possibly creating the flute. which you are going to encounter in this book as well. And she's also known, there's so many different versions on every myth, but I also came across how she's kind of like, she's like the god of travel. She always like aids people on their hero's journey. So she is the perfect god for Meg to team up with to try to go on this quest. So I would say her.
Awesome. All right. So we'll answer other questions and feel free to comment and ask questions. I'm going to disappear for a minute or two while Jen gets to baking. So
one cute thing before we go. So I'm not going to wear them because they're so heavy. I'll put them on for a split second. Are they cute or what?
they're so cute.
So my editor had these made for me when the book came out. You can see these are the muses on one side. And this is Herc and Meg on the other side. And amazing. I cannot wait to wear these in Disney.
Oh, so fun. So fun. All right.
Now we are going to bake.
Greek butter cookies coming up.
Yes, this is what they look like, guys. These are some completed Greek butter cookies, a traditional Greek butter cookie. Believe it or not, you could make this probably with everything you have in the house right now. It is literally 4 ingredients. You will find so many different recipes on this. There's definitely ways to, there's variations on it that you can do. But for us today, you literally need powdered sugar, okay? You need 1 egg. And as a matter of fact, we're just using the yolk. You need flour, and then you need vanilla extract, and that's it. So what we're gonna start doing, it actually makes a lot of butter cookies. You're gonna preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Get that ready. You're gonna get out a baking sheet. Now, when you get out your baking sheet for this one, these are kind of sticky, these cookies. So I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have baking mats, use a baking mat. If you don't have a baking mat, I have some unbleached baking paper or parchment paper. You want to prep that because your cookies are going to go on there. So I've just prepped my baking sheet with some parchment paper to get started. Now, what I've also done is butter is our 4th ingredient. And for the butter, what I did was I took 2 sticks of butter. That's all you need. And I left it out at room temperature for a few hours so that it's easier to work with. And since my mixer is a little bit loud, I wanted to just show you. I actually started to churn this butter. You want to keep churning these sticks of butter until they look almost white and fluffy. You really want that butter mixed in well before you add anything else. So I've done that for the most part. And I'm going to get this back on here for us. Okay. And now what I'm going to add to that is I'm going to add, as I said, you need 1 egg. I separated the egg mostly from the egg yolk. Really, it just makes a richer recipe. You just need the yolk for this. So I'm going to put the yolk into my mixer and I'm going to mix this a little bit. So these Greek butter cookies, as you can see, here's one right here. They're very heavy. They're very dense. They almost don't even look cooked. Like when you get them out of the oven, you just want them to be like a slight golden brown on the bottom. There's, some people make them into crescent moons. Some people make them just in a circle. You can do different shapes with these, but it's a heavy cookie, but it's a delicious cookie. They're so good. So, okay, so my egg yolk is mixing in right now. What I'm going to add to that is 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. That's it, just 1/2 cup. The reason you might be thinking like, why so little sugar? But you are going to dust your cookies at the end with more powdered sugar. So there is, I promise you, there is more than enough sugar in this recipe. Right, Dill?
Yeah, we have a question.
Sure. Dill, what's your question, Waller?
How many books have you made?
How many books have I written? Dylan has a question for me too. The Go the Distance is actually my 30th book. My 29th book, The Retake, actually just came out in February. We did another Books and Baking for that. And Go the Distance is my 30th book. I really can't believe that I've written that many books in the last 16 years. I feel so fortunate to get to do that. Okay, so we are mixing away. I'm going to show you once again. Everything is really just blending nicely. This next part is a little bit of trial and error. So as I said, you just have very few ingredients with this. We have our powdered sugar. We have our butter. We are mixing it in. You can see it's just mixing nicely. Okay. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Some people choose to do half a teaspoon of vanilla extract and half a teaspoon of almond extract. Guys, I went to like 4 stores and there is either an almond extract shortage or I don't know what, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I've been using, when I did my trial run, I did just the vanilla extract and it has turned out beautifully. Some people choose to take maybe half a cup of chopped walnuts or pecans or almonds. You could do almond slivers in here as well. I did not. We are not a big almond family. So I didn't do that, but I'm just going to mix in that vanilla extract. As you're mixing, this is really all about the mixer in this one. You really just want to keep scraping down the sides of the bowl. Make sure everything is getting fully mixed. Dylan, do you have other questions for me while I'm mixing?
Not right now.
Okay, good. So we are just going to mix that in. Also, if you have a standing mixer, I highly recommend using the paddle for this recipe rather than the whisks attachment. It just is going to be so much easier to work with. So, okay, now here comes the fun part. With these Greek butter cookies, don't be alarmed. They are very crumbly. This is going to be like a very crumbly dough, and that's okay. What you want to do is, this is kind of like trial and error. You can add up to 4.5 cups of flour in this recipe. I am hoping to only add 2.5 cups in. It's just 2.5 cups of flour. You don't want to add it in all at once. You want to add little by little just so it can start mixing in. So I'm going to add about a cup right there to get it started. The reason I say you don't want to add too much is because the mixture is going to get too crumbly. You really want to be able to work with it. It's a sticky mixture. I took off my rings to do this because it gets so messy.
You have another question.
Sure, Dill. What's the question while we're mixing?
When did your first book come out?
When did my first book come out? My first book came out in 2005. So 2005, 16 years ago. So I've got this mixed in pretty well. I'm just watching it go here. You're constantly, again, scraping down the sides of the bowl, scraping at the mixture. You know, when I was trying to think of what to make for this, since we always bake something in relation to the book, I was too afraid, guys, to do baklava. I didn't know if I could pull it off. So I just figured the Greek butter cookies, as I said, very simple ingredients. It's just a little bit time consuming. Just getting your dough ready. I'm going to add in the other half of my dough right here. So when you bake these in the oven, also not a long time to bake. You're going to bake these for maybe 15 minutes. You're going to watch them. You just want to get it light brown on the bottom at most. So that's why you're preheating your oven now so that it's ready to go in. When you're done with the cookies, when you take them out, I will show you. You want to let them cool for a bit before you powder them. When you take the cookies out and it's easy enough to touch, you're going to grab a wire rack. Hopefully you have one of these around. You're going to grab a wire rack and you're going to let them rest on here. Once I let them rest on here, I will move them back onto the baking sheet because you're going to powder them, and that's a messy part of it. If you powder them over this, you're going to get a mess everywhere. So I just get these back on the baking sheet after, and I do it that way. So, okay, our dough is starting to mix up now. We are getting this together. It's very crumbly. Give it another minute. And you're going to really, when you're working with this dough, you want to get in there with your hands because you really want to mix it. I have a big spoon. I am going to use the big spoon, but I will say getting in there with your hands really helps mix the dough even better. Sorry, guys, that's an appearance from Ben Kenobi, who does not like the sound of the mixer. Benjamin. He's not a big fan. Okay, so we are really mixed well in here. And so I am going to get the rest of this dough off the mixer. And I am going to lift this out so you can see what we're working with here. So this is mixed really well. You can see this really looks like cookie dough. You know, it almost looks like a chocolate chip cookie dough. The fun part about this is this is mixed so well now. This is my friend's mixer. It's so much better than mine that I really don't have to do much. Now, you can go in with your hands. I've been doing that the last few times. But then over the weekend, I actually bought a little cookie scoop. I never had one. A little Wilton cookie scoop that I just got online. So I'm actually going to go in there. I just felt like it was the perfect portion of cookie. And I am going to drop my cookie on the tray like so. It almost looks like a little ice cream scoop. Can you see that? You want to make sure that you place these about an inch and a half apart because you want to give them a little room to grow. So I'm just going to put another one down here. As I said before, you could take these, you could actually make these into a crescent moon shape. You know, when I was looking online at all the different styles of this cookie, there are so many different things you can do with the cookie. But Dylan, you can attest, isn't this dough much better than our dough over the weekend?
Yes.
I will say, so there's a lot of different recipes out there for this. You're going to find recipes that tell you to make these cookies with regular sugar. I tried that the first time. It didn't come out as good. So then I researched more recipes and it turned out the powdered sugar was the way to go. Same thing with the egg. There were many recipes that just actually said use a whole egg. And then there were recipes out there that said just do the egg yolk. And I have to say, when we made a second batch of these for Easter on Sunday, the ones with just the yolk just were a better cookie. So I'm going to get a few more on these tray right here. And then we're going to get these in. So you can see I have a full tray here of cookies that are ready to go into the oven. Now, I'm going to stick these in the oven. They're going to go in for 15 minutes, but the magic of baking, I have a tray right here ready for you to show you. This is, you can see again, slightly brown on the bottom. It's heavy. It's a heavy cookie. It's a dense cookie. And we have these here. We're ready with these. What we're going to do now, this is the fun part. We're going to powder them. I have a sifter. There's some people who just use a sieve and you can just like sprinkle it over that way. I actually have a sifter that I filled with powdered sugar, as I said before. And now you're just going to have fun with it. You're just going to powder the top of these cookies. So I'll show you a show. It's my favorite part. You can't mess this up, guys. As much powdered sugar as you want. And these will stay fresh. You can put them in like an airtight container for a few days, and they will be good to go. And these are your Greek butter cookies. That's it. What do you think, Heather? These
Yum, yum. I think I'm hungry.
Good.
After school snack.
A good after school snack. Dylan is going to take one and test right away.
Yes, they look delicious. So while you were baking, I was chatting with Wendy and Clarissa in the chat about the cover of your book. And we were talking about how gorgeous the cover is and all the covers. And they wanted to know who decides on the cover. How does that get picked or chosen?
You know, it's different for every book I've ever worked on. The Twisted Tale series, you know, Liz Braswell originated this series. She's worked on it since the very beginning. And so these covers, usually with a series, you'll notice covers look semi-similar because you want people to know that they're all part of a series. So, you know, they do have a designer for these. They usually always feature, I always say they feature the villain. Like Liz's most recent one is on Birthday, the Queen of Hearts is on there. Mira has the Evil Queen. Go the Distance has Hades. The one thing you and I, Heather, were talking about this before the beginning is in Frozen, the villain really would be Hans, right? But I don't know if everybody would have picked it up if Hans was on the cover. So Anna and Elsa were obviously the obvious choice. Everybody knows these silhouettes so well. So that was a little bit different this time.
Awesome. So we have some more questions.
Sure.
All right. Where did you get the idea for this novel?
So I'm gonna scoop some more of these while we're chatting. The idea for this novel, it's funny when your editor my editor, I have the most amazing editor on the series. Her name is Brittany Rubiano, and I've worked with her forever. And so she comes to you and she'll say like, well, what, if you were going to work on this one, what would your question be? What would your what if question be? And for Hercules, I have to say, I knew right away what I wanted to happen, because at the end of the Hercules movie, if you've seen the movie, basically, in Hercules that Hercules, in the beginning of the movie, he's born to Zeus and Hera. He is a god. They're so excited he's there. And Hades kind of jumps in and he has his minions steal Hercules. They want to make him mortal so he can no longer be a threat. And so what happens, of course, is he becomes mortal pretty much. He still has a super strength because he didn't lose everything. And he spends the whole movie trying to become a god, to prove to Zeus he is worthy of becoming a god. So at the end of the movie, after proving he's worthy, he says to Zeus, but you know what? I'm going to stay down here on Earth and I'm going to be with Meg. And Zeus says, sure, no problem. And I just felt like everything I'd ever read about Zeus is he's the All-Father, right? He's a little bit cranky. I didn't see Zeus turning around and saying, sure, no problem, stay on Earth, stay with the mortals. So in my mind, Zeus says no. And then if Meg wants to be with Hercules, the only way to be with a god, in my mind, was to be up on Mount Olympus as well. So Hera is the one, Zeus's wife, who sends Meg on this epic quest. And if she can complete this quest, then she could become a god and be with Hercules. So I kind of knew that it needed to all stem from there.
So speaking of Meg and her quest, what was Meg's hardest decision to face and go the distance?
So, when we meet Meg in the movie, there is this like one, I don't want to say throwaway line, but there is this one line in the movie where Hades basically is kind of like, I own you because you gave up your soul for your ex-boyfriend. And now you're stuck here. So Meg has been burnt before. She doesn't, really trust Wonder Boy, Hercules, when she first meets him. And they have this kind of like whirlwind courtship when you really think about it in the movie. So now here she is. She's gone up there with Hercules to see like Zeus welcome back to the fold. And does she really want to be with him? Like, she's been on her own for so long. She has this very interesting backstory of her own family life, who she was raised by, how hard her life was. Then she was scorned by this like ex-boyfriend. So she's got a lot of baggage and a lot of stuff to work through to try to figure out, here I'm going on this epic quest for a boy. Do I really want to be with this boy? Do I want to be with Hercules? What do I have to learn about myself in order to figure out my life? So there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on there.
I think so.
What is your dream Twisted Tales project?
I don't know. There are a few I know about in the pipeline, just that I'm not working on, that other people are working on, that I'm so excited about. I can't wait for Disney to reveal what they are. They're ones that, people are going to be so excited about. If I got a chance to work on another Twisted Tale, I'd be happy to work on any of them, but I love Merida. I love Brave. My mom is like desperate for me to do Brave. And my younger son, he loves Tarzan. And it's true, Tarzan would make a great one too. So that I think could be fun as well. 101 Dalmatians is really fun. I know, there's a new Cruella book out today. So that, there's a lot of fun stuff still to explore.
So a little off the book topic, but yet still on topic. What you missed most about Disney?
Everything. I miss everything about Disney. We were supposed to go to California right before the pandemic. We were supposed to go last summer, and so we canceled the trip. So I'm dying to get out to California and go to Disneyland. I'm dying to see the new Avengers headquarters they have that they're building out there. I'm dying to go to Galaxy's Edge. And I just love being inside the magic. I'm telling you, I mean, my author bio has always said for years, I want to trade places with Cinderella. It's pretty much so I could live in Cinderella Castle or Sleeping Beauty Castle. I just want to like live in the parks and soak up the magic 24/7. That would be my dream.
I understand. I feel you there. I definitely feel you there.
Magical place.
So did you get any artwork for Persephone?
I did not. And, you know, I'm always amazed when people do this epic artwork. You know, there's a artist, Marissa, who has done some artwork on Instagram of Conceal Don't Feel and also of Mira Mira. And I actually have it on display in my office because I love when people do artwork based on the Twisted Tale books because it's different from the movie. So nobody has done any artwork yet for Go the Distance. I mean, it is so brand new, but if somebody were to draw Persephone, I would love it. She is in Go the Distance. So I can't wait for people to see how she comes about.
So speaking of Marissa, and I'm not sure if this is the same Marissa.
Yeah, that's her.
Marissa Bell's art, I have a feeling, is this one and only. She would like to know what part of Meg's backstory was the most interesting.
I think her views on love. I mean, we all love the song from the movie, right? I won't say I'm in love. I think her views on love, she's jaded. She has been burned before by this ex-boyfriend. She lost someone she loved at a very young age. She also watched a very influential relationship in her life kind of implode. And so she's got this kind of jaded look at love. And that, you know, definitely weighs on her and weighs her decisions in this book.
So I thought this was a really interesting question. Who is the main character?
That is an interesting question because, you know, as we were saying earlier, when you look at the Twisted Tale covers, a lot of times they feature the villain, but the Twisted Tale stories, you know, for the large part have to deal with a lot of the heroines of the story or the heroes of the story. This is Meg's story. This is Meg's journey. This is Meg's quest. And so this is her story by and large, but there are a lot of other familiar characters from the movie that come apart and are part of this.
What made you pick Hercules as your next movie to write a Twisted Tale about?
Well, that's kind of like a magic of Disney kind of question. You know, Disney has these great movies for us to pick from, and, you know, they will come to us at different points and say, I'm thinking about this one. What do you think? And so I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to do Hercules, which I'm so grateful for.
So when that happens, do you have to run a certain amount of things by Disney so that it stays within the confines? How does that work? How much do they have to oversee of what you write?
Well, you know, you want to be true to the character that was created in the movie. And I know sometimes that's hard for people to understand. I know that's sometimes, you know, hard for reviewers to understand of the book. Like, you're working off the character you were given in a movie. So when I worked on the first Twisted Tale, I always tell this story. I was working on Snow White, and I was like, maybe Snow White is really an epic swordsman and no one knows she's a swordsman. I had this crazy idea where the dwarves were secretly going to teach her how to be a warrior and she was going to storm the castle. And I remember, like, I talked about it with Disney and they're like, yeah, but that's not the Snow we meet on screen. She's very kind. She's benevolent. She can speak to animals. Is she really going to carry a sword? And so I was like, oh, that's so true. So I was trying to come up with another way to be true to her. And that's the same thing with Meg. Meg is a very specific, fun character. She is tough as nails. She is her own person. She's had a tough backstory. So you want to be true to that character when you're working on the story so that it rings true to the movie.
Yeah, I always think that's great because I find that so interesting because, you know, those of us who know these stories so well, you do sort of get, you know what they would or wouldn't do. And yet you're able to create, and the others who write in this series are able to create those what if moments that still fit within what we consider okay. Like, we're like, oh yes, that actually could happen. It's never like, because, you know, you can sometimes sniff out when it's like, well, it might be a sword wielding Snow White would not maybe work. You kind of know. But it's right. I think you guys you do like a great job of keeping everything that we know and understand in there, but letting it go just enough further that we have those moments like, oh, That really could have happened that way.
I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear you say that. Dill, do you have anything else for us? Any
Cindy
questions?
just is excited to read the new book.
Oh, good, good. So,
So I have one more question.
great,
And then we're going to pick a winner if that's okay.
perfect.
So this question is, if you were a Greek goddess, what powers would you have?
In 2020, 2021, I would love some world peace. So, gods are usually a little bit vengeful or very involved in war. But could I go the other way and say I would love to be a god who just brings about more love and peace to this world? I feel like we could use it.
Yes, you could be that peaceful goddess. I could see that. I could see that.
I would like that.
All right, so we do want to remind people that if you want to get signed copies of the book, visit our website, childrensbookworld.net, and you can order them there. Don't forget about your local bookstores as well that carry Jen's book, I am sure, as we all do. And, I was through the magic of television. Can you reach your hand in there? And whoa, pick a winner! Ta-da! Here we go. And the winner is EM Bill 13.
Woo! We will contact you to get you your epic prizes. Thank you guys all for watching today and all your questions.
Thank you, everybody. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Jen. Congratulations. All right, everybody. Go the distance. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye. You off too, Dill?